It's your boy Kelly K9 for this is a special, not as special, but it's new coming in to just do a late night video. Mike has been taking over the mornings. He's a morning person. I am not. Um, so I just wanted to get on here for a few minutes, just kind of go over some of the events of the week, the day. Um, it looks like Dalvin Cook was somebody that the Cowboys obviously had some interest in. He did sign with the Ravens today, so the Cowboys are going to have to kind of roll into the postseason with what we have right now, which is not a lot. We've got Dowdle battling an injury. You've got Deuce Vaughn has been put on the IR. Malik Davis has been a guy who's been missing. What's up, Edgar? How's it going, man? Thanks for joining in tonight, man. So we did have a free agent signing, a guy named SaRodorick Thompson, running back out of my former, right here. Well, there it is. That's mirrored camera always gets me. Texas Tech University running back SaRodorick Thompson. For those of you that don't know about him, he was signed as a free agent after the draft by the Saints. And then they released him, and he went on to sign with Seattle. Never really got on the field there, but for Texas Tech, he was a pretty productive back. 2,604 yards rushing, about 4.9 yards per carry over his career. He also had 91 receptions for 520 yards receiving, and through his college career, he had 40 touchdowns. He was paired in a backfield with Taj Brooks, who is a all-pro Big 12 first-teamer running back, really good running back. So there was a really good tandem they had there while he was with Texas Tech. He's a physical running back. He also has, pass-catching skills out of the backfield. So he's a guy who can, he hasn't got on the field with anybody. So let's, I can be optimistic about him because, I saw him at Texas Tech and I personally liked him. But then again, that doesn't translate to on the field because, again, he was with the Saints. They got rid of him. He got with Seattle. They got rid of him. So maybe he just hasn't got with the right system, hasn't gotten the right opportunities. We will see. However, we do know that the Dallas Cowboys running game is, for lack of better words, they've suffered a little bit. Haven't been the greatest. We've been kind of lacking some punch. Tony Pollard actually came out and talked a little bit about it and mentioned that he is a little disappointed in himself this season. And when you look at what Tony Pollard has done this year, there's people that have said, well, it's the run blocking. It's Tony Pollard not looking as great as he has in past. I don't really know. I think more than anything, I just think Tony Pollard is just unfortunate. I don't just think he's a lead back. I think he's a complimentary back. But, we got who we got. And, when you look at it, Tony Pollard's got 935 yards. He's 4 yards per carry. He's got 5 touchdowns. I feel like what the Cowboys have really been lacking is that red zone threat. They've been lacking that guy that gets the short yardage, the tough yardage. But it is what it is. We're coming into the postseason. We were kind of hoping we'd be able to get a Dalvin Cook, but it looks like he never really had Dallas in mind. He went straight to, he literally cleared waivers today and was signed by end of day by Baltimore. So he joins that Baltimore backfield. Me personally, if I'm a running back, I don't want to go to a team that has a quarterback that runs the ball more than the running back. And Lamar Jackson kind of takes a little bit away the shine. But then again, also if I'm looking from his perspective and I'm looking at a contender, a place that I want to go to that's going to be a contender, I can't sit there and tell you that the Ravens aren't looking like one of the best teams in the AFC right now. I believe they have that. They went ahead and locked up that number 1 seed. They're going to have a first round bye. So they've got some work to do once they do get out into the playoffs because the AFC has got some talent, but I think that Baltimore is kind of the cream of the crop there. So I don't fault him for going to the Ravens. I wish he would have at least given the Cowboys a visit, but I guess he just wanted to stay in the AFC and he thought that Baltimore gave him the best chance. So it is what it is. Now, I don't know if some of you guys have seen this, but I just saw this today and actually just addressed it on Twitter. Apparently Golden Tate. This is what will not. Here we go. We got a super chat here, so I'm going to go ahead and get to this real quick. We got a super chat. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, man. I'm getting old here. Super chat here from Chris Watson. He says, "What up, my man? I agree about the run game, but as long as we stay healthy, I think in the playoffs, the only team in the NFC that has our number is San Fran." Yeah, I agree with that. Can't disagree there. If we can somehow bypass San Fran, I'd sure love it. But at the end of the day, man, whoever we play, Cowboys are just going to have to play their best football. When we play our best, and if we play, if we play disciplined football and don't commit those mental mistakes, those mental errors, and those penalties, I think the Cowboys can compete with anybody today. I think I saw who was the guy, Ryan Clark. Was saying that if the Cowboys play their best football, that he thinks that they could beat the Niners. And I don't disagree with him. I think right now, it's easy to say that the Niners have our number, and that's very hard to beat for the Cowboys. But I don't necessarily think that that's a team that's unbeatable. I don't think that that's a team that we cannot beat. When you look at the rosters, talent for talent, it's hard to deny the talent that the Niners have. But it's a team that can be beat. You look at that team, it's a team that, really relies on its playmakers. They rely on speed, scheme. They're a very physical team. You have to be physical with them. That's something that the Cowboys have been hit and miss on. Some days they come in and they are, sometimes some games you come in and look at the Cowboys and that's a team that's very, very physical. What's going on there, Vince? And then other days you look at the Cowboys and there's certain games they come in and we just look flat. It's on Mike McCarthy and this coaching staff to get this team ready heading into the playoffs and to play with that physicality. That's what I'm looking for in Washington when we go into Washington on Sunday. Because, let's face it, man, Washington, I've heard a lot about them having the number 2 seed and Washington possibly, wanting to, or not the number 2 seed, the number 2 draft pick. And if they win this game, they'd get the number 6 draft pick, right? I don't really buy the fact that you're going to be a football team and you're going to play for the higher draft pick and you're going to want to lose. I think Ron Rivera wants to win. I actually think his job may be on the line. And he may lose his job, win or lose. But I think they're going to want to play spoiler to the Cowboys just because it's a division rival, and they know we're coming into their house with the NFC East on the line, and if we win, we have the number 2 seed, and I think they'd love to play spoiler. So I don't think that the Cowboys can take anything for granted going into this game. I don't think that they can come in and play lackadaisical. I don't think they can get off to a slow start. I think this Cowboys team needs to come in. I think they need to come in fast, quick, and hit them in the mouth and continue to hit them in the mouth for all 60 minutes of that game until the game is over. And when the Cowboys play that kind of football, when they play the brand of football with physicality, with that fast start, it's the Cowboys team that gives you that confidence. It's the Cowboys team that you think this is the team that can win it all. This is the team that could get on a roll here in the playoffs. And the fact that we're looking at that possible number 2 seed and hosting at least 2 playoff games in the playoffs has to give you some optimism. We in years past, we've kind of had a little bit of a lower seed, but it's all up to how this team plays. I feel like that the only 2 teams that I'm not scared of, I guess, but just that kind of give me worry is the San Francisco 49ers and then the Dallas Cowboys. The reason I say the Dallas Cowboys is because we're the only ones that can beat ourselves, I feel like. Huge game Sunday, obviously, for the East, but we need to dominate and make a statement. I agree. Domination and making a statement and going in on a positive note. For any of those, yes, you know what, Edgar, thank you very much. For any of those of you that are new to the channel, just tuning in for the first time, please hit the like and subscribe button. Me and my co-host Mike, we've got a great thing going here. It's not just me and Mike. We've got several guys that are on here. We've got Jimmy D. We've got Vince and the boys and Mikey that do the fantasy football show on Tuesdays. We've got a lot of great content, a lot of great interviews. Please like, subscribe to the channel, share if you can. But everything that you guys do in that aspect helps. But now back to the game on Sunday. The Cowboys They need to dominate this game. But the topic that I wanted to cover real quick and not spend too much time on this here, but the topic that seems to not die, Golden Tate, had a statement. And basically what he said is that Jerry Jones on the 2-point conversion, he said he picked up the phone just like he did in 2015 when the refs picked up the PI penalty. Now, I don't know if you guys remember when we played the Detroit Lions in the playoffs back in 2015, there was a controversial call. It was initially flagged for pass interference. They picked it up, said that it was no PI. The Detroit Lions were pissed and whining for weeks while the Dallas Cowboys went on to the divisional round and proceeded to lose the next round. But it just makes me kind of laugh that Golden Tate would say something like that. I mean, it's laughable, to be honest with you. If Jerry Jones could pick up the phone and rig a game and get calls, don't you think he would have done that in 2014 with the Dez Bryant catch? I mean, don't you think he would have done that with the Dez Bryant catch? I mean, if Jerry Jones could rig games as he's being accused of by these salty-ass Lions fans that just can't accept the loss and move the fuck on, move the hell on, don't you think we'd have a Super Bowl by now? I mean, if Jerry Jones could do that, why are we stuck in a 28-year drought? You think Jerry's doing that just for the hell of it? I think it's ridiculous. I think it's an embarrassment to the NFL, and I think it's an embarrassment to Golden Tate to even suggest that, or to anybody to suggest that that Jerry Jones has any power over these games or that he can bribe officials or anything like that. If that was the case, the Dallas Cowboys would have won a Super Bowl a very long time ago. We would not still be sitting here in the same position because Jerry Jones, let's face it, his pockets are deep. And if all it took was some money, I feel like Jerry Jones, he's already addressed it and said, hey, if I could write a check, there is no amount that I wouldn't write as far as a number on a check to win another Super Bowl. So I just think it's pretty comical. I think it's been addressed. I think it's been beaten. The dead horse has been beaten. I mean, it is Thursday, and there are still Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Lions former players that are still talking about this game, and it is absolutely ridiculous. It's no secret that the commission hates Jerry, and that's well documented, so no way he would call anyone in that office. Absolutely. The Cowboys have been one of the most penalized teams for the last several years, and there's no how can you explain that, right? How could you explain the Dallas Cowboys being able to influence calls, or for Jerry Jones to be able to, make calls to officials and affect these games and rig these games if we're one of the most penalized teams? Very rarely do the Cowboys get things called in their favor. Very rarely. I mean, you think about it. It doesn't happen a lot. We're usually on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to those kind of penalties. So I think my message for the Detroit Lions is to the movie Frozen. My granddaughter, she loves the movie Frozen. And one of the songs in there is Let It Go. Have you guys seen that? Let It Go. Detroit, let it go. Let it go. You lost the game. It's an L on your record. Play Sunday. Go out and win your game. Still try to get that number 2 seed. Hope that Dallas loses to Washington, because if Dallas was to lose to Washington and Detroit was to win and Philly was to lose, I think Detroit's still kind of in the mix here for the number 2 seed. But listen, Dallas ain't losing to Washington. So I apologize, Detroit, but still, it's time to let it go. So that being said, listen, Cowboys fans, we do have we do have some good things in front of us, though. I like the way this team's playing. There are some things that still, kind of need to be a little bit cleaned up. But listen, Dak Prescott is playing at a really good level right now. Gives you a lot of confidence going into the playoffs. The defense has been playing very well. They've held, with Miami and Detroit. I understand we lost that game against Miami, but they held Miami but below their score total. If we can if a couple more plays kind of go our way on that Miami game, shakes out a little bit differently, we win that Miami game. It was a very close game, not like we got blown out. Then we held Detroit, to 19 points. So, and Detroit's one of the, high-powered offenses. They're a really good run game. We didn't get gashed in the run game like I thought that we possibly could. So, look, Dallas has got some good things going right now, and we have to kind of just go into this thing with a positive attitude and think that this team, if they play their best football and they get on a roll, I mean, just think about it. Earlier this year, 5-game win streak, right? We can get on a win streak like that again. We don't need 5. What are we going to need? We're going to need 4. Going to win this first round, got to win the divisional round, got to win the NFC Championship, got to win the Super Bowl. 4 more games that we got to win. I mean, obviously we need to win against Washington, so 5 games if you're counting that game. So 5 games can get us that number 6 Lombardi, and that's what everybody here in Dallas wants. That's what we all expect. If we don't get it, it's a failure of a season. That being said, for those of you in the chat, just a quick question. In your personal opinion, what this year is the benchmark for you? Is it actually Super Bowl or bust? Or would you look at this as a would you be content? I won't say content, but what would you feel if we made it to the NFC Championship? Hypothetically, we make it to the NFC Championship and we lose to San Francisco. Are you feeling good about this team going forward? Are you thinking that it's time to make some changes in the coaching staff? Team looks strong. However, I'd like to see the run game improved and Pollard used better. I agree with that 100%. We were just talking about the fact that, Dalvin Cook signed with the Ravens. We're just kind of going to have to roll into this thing with who we got and hope that they start, run blocking and scheming a little bit better. But Stephen White says always the Super Bowl. That's kind of my thing. Always the Super Bowl. I really want to get to that Super Bowl. That's, if it's not a Super Bowl, I just feel like it's a failure. It's been so long since we've won a Super Bowl. Edgar says the NFC Championship game. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I think it would be nice to play in the NFC Championship. Getting that close though, and then losing it, is just is really, God, that'd be really heartbreaking. But I mean, it would be nice to play in an NFC Championship game. I mean, at least you could kind of get that monkey off your back about the fact that you haven't been past the divisional round. But in the end, you look back at it and you're going to look at this watered down NFC that just doesn't really have any powerhouses. And you're going to sit there and think to yourself, was this a wasted opportunity? Westside says, I'll be happy if the Cowboys make an NFC Championship game. I'm still waiting after 28 years. It would be huge. I agree, man. And it would be huge. And it would be, monumental ratings for the NFL if it's the Cowboys and the Niners in the NFC Championship game. You look back at the early 90s, that was the rivalry, and that was the benchmark. Us meeting up with the Niners in the NFC Championship game. Obviously, we got them in the 90s. They got us, and a couple of them there in the earlier decades. But NFC Championship game absolutely would be great to get to. But me personally, I really do want a Super Bowl. But just such a better road. The NFC Championship games have seen it so long. Just give it to me. NFC Championship would be great. However, when you're at Dallas in this fan base, it's the ship or bust. I'm 59. Greg, yep, I know exactly what you mean. That is the way that we want to win a Super Bowl, man. Ain't none of us getting no younger. I'm 43, man. Last time I saw a Super Bowl, I was 16, the tender age of 16. Your boy was just barely driving at that time. At never seen the Cowboys, born in 88. That's why I say the NFC Championship game. Hey, you know what? I do. I kind of sometimes forget that there is that next generation of Cowboys fans who have not seen them get past the divisional round. So for those of you that haven't, that would be a pretty big experience, a big moment for the Cowboys fans that have yet to see the Cowboys play in an NFC Championship game. For those of us that were in the 90s and saw that decade, we did see that. We did get to see this Cowboys team get over the hump. And oddly enough, we got over the hump playing the 49ers. We were able to beat the 49ers in 92. We beat them again in 93 in the NFC Championship game. It became a thing, right? And it's kind of come full circle now because you've got this Cowboys team and they're button heads with this 49ers team, and we just can't seem to get over the hump with these 49ers. So it's almost like, I'm not a superstitious person, but I'm a person that's kind of believes in like destiny and the stars aligning and everything. And for me to see this rivalry have come full circle from the 90s now back here into the 2023s and 2024 now, the San Francisco team, big powerhouse team. Then you've got this Dallas team kind of up and coming, putting it together. Really just really just kind of gives you the vibes of back in the 90s. And I sure would love to get over the hump and beat San Francisco. I mean, how sweet would that be after 3 straight demoralizing losses? Let's face it, they've all been demoralizing losses. Because 2 of them were in the playoffs, and then this year we just got our heads caved in. But how great would that be to get over the hump and to get to the Super Bowl and to do it by beating this vaunted 49ers team that is littered with Pro Bowlers. I mean, I feel like their whole 53-man roster made the Pro Bowl going up and down that roster there. So how great would that be to experience that? It would just really validate not only this Cowboys franchise, but Dak Prescott. More than anything, he's gotten a lot of criticism. He's gotten a lot of hate. He's gotten a lot of he can't get past the divisional round when a lot of people will ignore that it's a team sport. I don't think Dak Prescott played his best the last 2 playoff games against the Niners. I didn't think he played horrible in that first one. I thought last year, obviously, I thought the interceptions cost us an opportunity to win that game. And if Dak Prescott didn't turn that over, I thought our defense played well enough to win that last year. But we're looking at a different Dak Prescott here this year, in my opinion. I think he's playing with more confidence. I think since that Niners game, I think him and Mike McCarthy have gotten on the same page with a lot of the offensive play calling, with how they're using this pass system, with how they've gotten Cooks more involved, with how they've gotten Ferguson involved. It's just kind of taken that offense to another level. So Brock Purdy needs to be rattled, and he will fold like a cheap card table. Every game he gets sacked and pressured, he has folded. I agree with you. Pass rush is always going to be the key. Pass rush and getting into that quarterback. We didn't do a great job of that the first time we played the Niners. So yes, I agree. Getting to Purdy early and often, definitely that would be a key into, the thing is with the 49ers, with them being so physical, you have to out physical that team. And that's the key there for me, is that you have to be more physical than that 49ers team, which there's not a lot of teams, let's face it, there's not a lot of teams that can do it, but I feel like we do have the capabilities to do that, man. You've got a Micah Parsons. I look at him as a very physical player. I look at a guy like Jake Ferguson. I think he's a physical player. I look at Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is a physical player. I think he's a tough guy. I feel like we've got some dogs on this team. DeMarcus Lawrence is a tough dude. I feel like we've got some dogs on this team that could absolutely come in there, but it's got to be the mentality, and every single person, all 53, have to buy in. Even the water boy. I mean, the water boy's got to walk in there with swag. You know what I mean? They just like everybody, all 53, every single one of them, they all got to walk in with swag. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Jason Witten, he won state football championship there in Texas, and he was able to, be in the running right now for Coach of the Year in Texas. And I got to see his post game or pregame, I should say, pregame speech to his guys. Now, let me just tell you right now, man, if we could get Jason Witten in that locker room for the Cowboys to give that pregame speech and kind of give them a little bit of hype, if you guys haven't seen that, you should really go and watch it. I reposted it on my Twitter. Man, congrats to Jason Witten. He's doing some great things in Texas high school football. And man, I sure wish that we could have seen him win a Super Bowl. He was one of the greats of all times, but he's also now gotten into the coaching. and just a great motivational guy, man. So I don't know if you guys seen that, but you should definitely go watch that. Really good little speech that he's got there. The Ravens had him shook, and he landed on more gifts than Christmas from Santa. Man, that's the formula. Exactly. The Ravens is a physical team, and that's what I'm talking about. The Ravens are a physical team, and you gotta be physical. If you're physical like the Ravens are, you can beat this team. This 49ers team can be beat. And also the other thing I'll say is that 49ers team is predicated on being healthy and all their playmakers being readily available. Right now they are healthy. And Ed Chris says no smashing watermelons. Yeah, that was Big Mike's motivational last year, was the smashing of watermelons. And I understand that was, I think, a guy named Gallagher, I think is a comedian or something. And that was his thing, smashing watermelons or something like that. I don't know. But Mike McCarthy used that as a motivational. I would prefer you to bring a guy in there that's going to light a fire under their asses. Maybe bring in Mike Tagg. We could bring Mike Tagg into the locker and get him to pump these guys up, because I know sometimes after watching them Mike Tagg hype videos, I'm ready to run through a damn brick wall. So yeah, no smashing watermelons. We'll leave that one out. Winston says we will see San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. We need an early lead and some turnovers and play our best game. Exactly. Got to play our best game. You cannot play football where we are making mental mistakes. We cannot do that. We do that, we're done. And you also got to start fast. So, I guess, at the end of the day, guys, what I'm most positive about is the fact that, or most happy, I guess, elated, joyful, whatever you want to call it, about right now, currently, is that 5 weeks ago, just 5, short amount of time, right? The Philadelphia Eagles had this division wrapped up, right? They had this thing wrapped up. They were all over Twitter. They wouldn't shut up. They couldn't stop running their mouths about how they had the division wrapped up. There was no way we could catch them. We were done. Dak Prescott, he wasn't, they were saying he was overrated. He couldn't beat the winning teams. He was just beating teams with losing records. And they're right now, as we stand, the number 2 seed in the lead for the NFC East. We control our own destiny. Philly's thing for a while, at least for the last few weeks, was like, you guys got the same record as us. They kept saying, you have the same record as us. Okay. The record may be the same. But guys, let's face it. These two teams are not the same. They're not the same. Dallas is ascending and going upwards. Philly is crashing. They are coming down. They are crashing harder than a 5-year-old coming off a sugar high and, day after Halloween, man. These dudes are crashing. They're imploding. They're arguing and bickering within the locker room. There is problems with the coordinators. At the beginning of the season, I said that it would be a problem. We can go back. I've got the tapes marked. I plan on going back and pulling these. But at the beginning of the season, I said offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They were both new offensive coordinator for the Eagles, new defensive coordinator. And I said that will absolutely make a difference. It was one of the reasons that I picked Philadelphia to be 9-8. And I got so many people coming after me saying, you're crazy, you're smoking, and listen, if Philly did better than what I thought they did, but they got very lucky on some games, very lucky. I feel like this Philadelphia team, honestly, right now at this point, should only be at 9 wins. And I think that the New York Giants can beat this team. You've got Tyrod Taylor that is starting the game for the Giants. They're playing in the Meadowlands. I mean, Tyrod Taylor almost beat him a couple weeks ago. I think he can beat him again. Greg said, but AJ fired him up. That's been the running theme. I've seen AJ talk about that. I've seen Hurts talk about it. It's funny because you watch some of these teams when they start to implode and they start to go on that downslide, and you think to yourself, you're like, okay, how much talk can you talk before eventually you stop talking and you take action? And that's why I've got no faith. I've got no faith in Philly to turn this thing around. I don't think they're going to beat the Giants. I think Philadelphia is going to go one and done in the playoffs. I think they're going to get bounced in the first round. I mean, they can barely beat a losing team, let alone a winning team. So it's just funny to see, the karma kind of start to turn, things to come full circle. I did think Philly was a really good team last year. I thought they were frauds all this year, and they are turning out to be so. They are like the 19-year-old with the McLovin ID trying to get into the club. They have been denied. Well, let's just say one of the bouncers bought it because technically they're in the playoffs. So I guess basically one of the bouncers let him in. The other bouncer looked and said, hey, is that McLovin? He's going to go get him. He's going to toss him out the door like the dad in Fresh Prince used to do to DJ Jazzy Jeff. So I'm just loving it, and I do like seeing it. Greg says, me either. They have internal issues, and I'm here for it. Yeah, they do, man. They really do. They've got a lot of problems there in Philadelphia. And the good thing is, for us anyway, is that that's not going to end when the season's over, because now they're having discussions about they want their head coach gone, they want their offensive coordinator fired, their defensive coordinator, they want to fire everybody, they want everybody gone. And it's funny because just 5 weeks ago, like I said, this was the best team in the NFL. How was anybody going to beat them? They were making a run back to the Super Bowl. This was a team of destiny, all this crap that we had to hear. Now it's a whole lot quieter. Now I'm not getting Philly fans underneath my post anymore. I don't know what happened. I guess they lost that energy. I always tell people to keep that same energy. I keep the same energy. I've been talking smack all season long, and we'll continue to talk smack. I do it whether we're winning, whether we're losing or not. I'm going to be the same obnoxious, hyped up, rowdy Dallas Cowboys fan, DCL for life, throwing up the X till the day that I die. I'm not going to stop talking, but these Philly fans have gotten really quiet. And I would say that it's disheartening for me to see them be so, what would be the word for it? I guess maybe humbled. Nah, they're not really humbled. Embarrassed. No, that wouldn't be the word. Maybe looking for witness protection, possibly. I don't really know what you would call it, but it's funny either way, man. And I'm getting a kick out of it. And I know all the Dallas Cowboys Nation is too, man. So listen, man, we can't, do not let up off these dudes, man. Do not let up. If you know a Philly fan, don't let up off these guys, man. Just do like what we do, what we want our Dallas Cowboys to do on Sunday versus the Washington Commanders. Foot on their neck, foot on the gas. Do not stop. All gas, no brakes. Keep on going. Don't let them forget what they were saying earlier in the season. Don't let them forget what they were saying 5 weeks ago. And when we win the NFC East, remind them every single day that 5 weeks ago, they said this division was wrapped up. They were talking about this division was over. They said it was pretty much mathematically impossible that we could not win this division. And now we go into Sunday, one win away for the NFC East title. That would be the second in 3 years for the Dallas Cowboys, and a number 2 seed. And destiny all in our hands, right in front of us. All you want is a chance. All you want is a shot. This Cowboys team has a shot. This Cowboys team is in the dance. And listen, a lot of teams have come through and made crazy runs in the playoffs, teams that weren't expected to. So listen, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And when you line this Dallas Cowboys team up with all the teams in the NFC, and even if you line them up with all the teams in the AFC, I think that this Dallas Cowboys team is one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. Absolutely do. I think it's the Niners, I think it's the Ravens, and I think it's the Cowboys. I think, and not that order. I think it's the Ravens, Niners, Cowboys, top 3 teams. And I think that this Cowboys team, when they are playing their best and if they're playing disciplined football and they're not committing boneheaded penalties, I think this Cowboys team can beat anybody. And the playoffs is a whole new season. Everybody starts in, you're undefeated. But we've got our issues, and it's up to Mike McCarthy and his coaching staff to work through those. So anytime you make a playoff run and you go to the Super Bowl, it takes a little bit of luck. And it takes some skill and some talent. We've got the skill, we've got the talent. Now all we may need is a little bit of luck, a couple of plays to go our way. And listen, it might have all started with the Jimmy Johnson Ring of Honor induction. I mean, we saw it in that Detroit game. Things started kind of going our way a little bit, right? We talked about, hey, was this a curse? Is it not a curse? I don't really know. I don't know how superstitious I am about this whole Jimmy Johnson thing. But listen, now that he's in the Ring of Honor, I do feel a lot better. I feel like the football gods might start smiling on this Dallas Cowboys team, this Dallas Cowboys organization. I feel like Jerry Jones is like, listen, what do I got to do? I feel like he got down on his knees and he prayed and he said, please, what I got to do, Lord, what I got to do to win another Super Bowl. And the Lord whispered in his ear and he said, Jimmy in the Ring of Honor. You see, I mean, it's the answer all of us fans have known for so long. We've been screaming, we've been pounding the table, put Jimmy in the Ring of Honor, put Jimmy in the Ring of Honor where he belongs. And finally, Jerry's put him in the Ring of Honor where he belongs. And what do you know? Saturday night, we got this game, comes down to the wire. Here we are, Cowboys fans. We're watching a march down the field, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, we got the same bad things about to happen to the Cowboys. They go for the 2-point conversion, they get it, and then there's a flag on the play. Guess what? Number 70, he reported eligible, and number 68 caught the ball, and Detroit hasn't stopped crying about it since. But listen, Cowboys Nation, it's not about them. It's not about us. It's about the football karma gods finally starting to smile on the Dallas Cowboys. Or at least I hope so. We can't really say that they've officially started smiling at us until we can hoist that number 6 Lombardi trophy at the end of the season, because that's what we all want. But this is a sign of things to come. This is a little bit of the right way. We're rolling on the right. We're on the right roller coaster, right? We're on the right highway. The navigation is pointing us in the right direction. So that's all we can do is be positive and be excited about that. I know I am. So I don't know, man. There's just something that I have felt all year long. That something just feels different about this team. Something feels different about the attitude, the environment in AT&T Stadium. Because I'll tell you what, man, I've been at 3 games this year. All 3 games that I've been at, obviously they won because they haven't lost at home all year long. But listen, all 3 games that I was at, the atmosphere was electric. I mean, that Seattle game, dude, I'm telling you, man, that Seattle game was insane. And I thought, you know what, nothing can top that Seattle game. Then I go to the Lions game, and that atmosphere was electric. Obviously, you've got all the legends of the 90s. You've got all the old school legends, all the guys from the Ring of Honor, everybody, all of them showing out for Jimmy. And you've got all the fans that want to be there for that. But I'm telling you, that atmosphere was electric at AT&T Stadium. So we are starting to see us get that home field advantage. And I really love it, man. I really love the way that I'm feeling. Kelly, can you do a Jerry impression? It cracks me up every time. All I have to say is that when we get into the playoffs, you better have your popcorn ready and have a napkin, because sometimes the butter on the popcorn will get on your hands. You can transfer it to your white jersey, and that thing would be a mess. We all know those jerseys are not expensive. And the proceeds, though, if you need to buy another jersey, come into yours truly pocket. So get your popcorn ready, Cowboys fans. And how about them Cowboys? Just a little Jerry impression to wrap this thing up, y'all. But listen, hey, I did not intend to get on here and go for 37 minutes. I was actually going to get on here and do a quick 10 to 15 minute thing. But listen, I'm going to start twice a week. Start doing a late night show. Like I said, Mike does the early thing. I want to do the late night thing. I know a lot of you guys are some night owls like me. Get on here and chop it up, talk Cowboys football, talk about some things that have happened in the week, talk a little trash, talk a little smack, have a little fun. I've enjoyed talking with you guys for a little bit tonight. But you know what? Now it's time for me to call it a night. Call it a wrap. Tomorrow's Friday. I got to take my ass to get a shower and then head to bed and, start getting ready for these weekend activities. So, appreciate you, Greg. You're the man. Much love back to you, man. Frankie boy, I love this, man. How about them Cowboys? I appreciate it, Frankie. Frankie over here tuning in from Munich, Germany. Steven, thanks. Edgar, have a good night, man. All you guys have a good night, man. I appreciate you guys. As always, I appreciate the support. If there's any of you guys that are tuned in that are new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that bell. You'll get the notifications every time we come on. We've got some great content. I know Mike mentioned the other night, we do have an interview lined up with Tony the Thrill Hill. That's right. You heard it. Tony Hill is going to be coming into the Cowboys cave to talk football. One of the great wide receivers in Dallas Cowboys history. Know your history. Learn your history. It's the old school legends that we bring into here. Guys like that. Guys like Bob Lilly. Guys like Moose. We got the great interviews, man, and we're going to continue to have them. Great content, but we cannot do it without you guys. So, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support. Cowboys Nation, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to get this number 2 seed this weekend, man, and go take it to them Washington Commanders. I know we got to go play in that dump of a stadium, but listen, we're going to walk out with the dub. Cowboys Nation, thanks for tuning in. As always, we will be back. I think we might be doing a show Sunday morning. If your boy gets up early enough, I should be able to do that. But anyway, we'll see you guys all next time. Thanks all for tuning in, man. Have a good night. And as always, how about them Cowboys?